People think BitTorrent is a crime, but I actually have a sticker on my computer that says BitTorrent is not a crime.
As a company, we're really proactive about actually doing good stuff with content creators of all kinds.
People who pirate things illegally, they love to use BitTorrent. The fact is, they've created a technology that allows any bit of information to go from point A to point B faster and more efficiently than any other technology. And actually, companies like NBC use them to move files internally, as do many media companies. They're actually on the forefront of distribution.
Of 405 million music downloads measured by Music Metric in the first half of 2012, 35% or 124 million of those were licensed legal downloads that came directly from this office, working directly with content creators, with musicians, with filmmakers, with authors, with TV producers, helping them put their stuff in the BitTorrent ecosystem in a legitimate way and actually help artists make money. Can you imagine if the record industry started using BitTorrent the way we do?
They want your work. It's a problem that only successful artists have. The vast majority of us will never experience any piracy whatsoever because nobody cares.
A lot of people have a concern, oh, well, if I market something on BitTorrent, BitTorrent users are all just pirates, won't they just steal it for free? Well, the most pirated thing in the BitTorrent ecosystem has been Game of Thrones. We've never marketed Game of Thrones. If you look at some of the things that we've marketed, they've been some of the biggest success stories of the last year. These things didn't then shoot to the top of the most pirated lists. There's not a connection there. If there was, we would all see it. People would be talking about it, we'd be talking about it, we'd be figuring out what to do with it, but it's not there.
It's true that the internet creates opportunities for piracy, but it also creates 100 times or 1,000 times more opportunities for testing, for direct relationship with fans, and for experimenting with new business models.
One, give away some of your work for free.
It's about what you make available. So the thing that we've been experimenting with lots of the content creators that we work with, in the first instance is, let's think about BitTorrent as a marketing channel. So don't put the primary piece of content up there. Don't put the thing you're trying to sell there. Put everything but. Anything you'd leave on the cutting room floor, you know, throw in the kitchen sink. Any like transmedia activation you're putting anywhere else on the web, yeah, throw it in the BitTorrent bundle too, with a bunch of other stuff. Because if you're not monetizing that piece of content, all it does for a fan is gets them deeper into the story, and the more you immerse a fan in your world, in the piece of content that you're trying to sell them, the more likely that they are to feel like they've got a real authentic connection with you, and then it's harder to steal from you, right? It's harder for them to think, oh, well, now I'm just going to go and like find this on the Pirate Bay.
Hollywood has worked with us in the past. As technology evolves and as attitudes evolve, we will work together again at some point.
There are funny stories here. Like, I was told by a person who did ops at a fairly prominent content company that they had a company-wide policy that you weren't allowed to touch BitTorrent ever, but he had deployments to do on internal servers that needed to go fast, and he just kind of quietly used BitTorrent for that.
Culturally, the entertainment industries have found value in piracy. If you go back to the birth of the phonographic record player, when Edison invented this piece of technology, musicians branded Edison as a pirate, and there was a huge uproar, and Edison and the musicians figured out a way to work together, and Edison Records was born, and all of the things that make up the music industry today really started. But you've got some really kind of deep-seated cultural factors in both Silicon Valley and in Hollywood that really play into how these two towns have tried to work together and not really managed to do it. So if you look at the history of Hollywood, it's one of the most risk-averse towns in the world, and it's how they've stayed in business and been able to do what they do. And then you've got Silicon Valley, which operates in exactly the opposite way, where you start with a handful of people and a good idea, and you find out if people like it, and that's how you build. These are two fundamentally different ways of creating amazing stuff that people need and value.